Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Entitled Parents Reddit video. In our first story, my mom still owes me $1,600. Let's jump right in. When I was about 15, I decided I wanted a job to start saving for future expenses, and so I had some spending money for myself. My mom was opposed to this for some reason and told me I don't need a job and that I should focus on school. My mom homeschooled me and my siblings, and that gave me a lot of flexibility in my schedule, so at the time there would be no problem with me having a job and getting schoolwork done. My mom would also complain all the time about how we didn't have enough money for this or that, even though she stopped working a while ago in favor of joining a multi-level marketing. My stepdad, who has been married to my mom for a long time and who I live with, was supporting our family of 7 kids by himself while my mom spent her money on her Young Living Essentials oils and many unnecessary knickknacks, junk foods, and other things. Seeing this behavior from her and how it affected the household, I decided I wanted to do better and make better decisions. I finally convinced her to let me get a job when I offered to help with buying groceries. She said that she would take me to apply for the lifeguard position at our local YMCA, but that I wouldn't need to help pay for anything. I got the job and started off at $7.25 an hour because I was 15 at the time. I worked there for 3 years and soon was making $10 an hour and working around 24 hours a week. That's not a lot, but I didn't really have any bills to pay, and as long as I didn't spend my money stupidly, I was able to save up quite a bit. Now, almost immediately after I started working, and after my mother told me that I wouldn't have to help her pay for anything, she came to me asking for money. It was a little at first, and she promised to pay me back, so I gave it to her and took note of how much she borrowed. She kept asking for more, around $200 every month, and always insisted she would pay me back. Well, one day when I was 17, I decided I didn't want to ride my bike to work or have someone else take me anymore, so I decided to buy a car. I had enough saved up, and when I told my parents about it, they offered to help me pay about half of the car by using the money they borrowed from me. My mom acted like she was doing me a big favor that I would have to repay her for, but my stepdad later pulled me aside and said that this would be part of their repayment to me, which I was fine with. One time, my mom asked for money twice in a very short amount of time. When she did, I sighed and looked upset because that would be almost all the money that I would make that month. When she saw that, she called me selfish for not wanting to give it to her. She said that since I saved all my money, it was stingy of me to not give it to her. She said that since I had so much, I don't deserve it. I later found out that she went to her room and cried after that. I felt bad because I thought she didn't like having to borrow money from her kid. I pitied her. When I was 18 and had graduated high school, my friend suggested a college for me to go to that was really affordable and that would train me in welding, what I was going for, in less than a year. So I started making my plans. Another friend of mine offered to help me get a better, higher paying job with him to help me save for college, and I decided to move in with him to be close to it. My mom was not happy about this. First, she said I shouldn't go to that school because it's out of state and I won't be able to help you financially or if anything happens. Second, she said that if I move out, I would never be able to save for anything. She said I would barely be able to get by and would never be able to afford to go to college. I'm pretty sure my mom has given me an anxiety disorder over the years, and after she said all that, I had one of the worst anxiety attacks of my life. My stepdad agreed with her, but by the way he was talking, I think he only wanted to support her decision. I've always respected him for that, and many other things. My biological father and stepmom, who I visit often, supported my decision completely, and so did everyone else I told and asked for advice. So I moved out, and after just 6 months, I have saved up enough to completely pay for my college tuition with a lot left over. I did have the help of my grandma, who set aside quite a bit of money for me to go to school, for which I am immensely grateful. Now, whenever I tell my mom how well I'm doing, she gets this really disappointed tone, but says she's happy for me. I don't hate her, I just pity her more than anything. She still owes me about $1,600, but I've given up on asking for it. She clearly needs it more than I do. Story number 2, my ex's mom yells at me for stealing her hours at work. So this happened about 11 or 12 years ago. I was expecting my first child, and my boyfriend's at the time mom offered to get me a job where she was working because I was unemployed. It was basically sitting with an elderly lady with Alzheimer's and keeping her company and making her meals. I had already had experience with this because my grandmother had Alzheimer's as well, and I helped my grandfather take care of her. I jumped at the opportunity, not only because I needed the money, but because I loved that type of work. Everything was going fine for the first few months. The lady loved me, loved watching my tummy grow and feeling the baby move and kick, and I loved it because I found it very fulfilling and just loved being around her and hearing her stories. She was still in the very early stages of it, so still very aware, just a little forgetful sometimes. The money was very good because we were being paid cash and working privately for the family. At that point, I was bringing home about $250 to $300 per week. After about 3 or 4 months of me working there, my boyfriend's mom was over visiting and talking about how she was going to see if they could change up her hours. She wanted a couple less days and shorter hours because it was getting to be too much for her with her own health issues. I didn't really think much of it and figured she would change her mind because this wasn't the first time she had said something to the same effect, until a few days later when I was asked by the family if I would want a couple more days and a few more hours on my normal shift. I, being pregnant and needing the money, said yes without too much of a second thought after making sure the increase wouldn't affect my mom's schedule. She was my ride to and from work, and she was helping my grandfather around his house with cleaning and general running around at the time. Once she said it was fine, I accepted the increase. A couple days later, my boyfriend's mom was visiting again. During the visit, she asked if we had anything to drink, and we told her there was pop in the fridge. Now, I would always put my schedules on the fridge for all of us to be able to reference easily when trying to make plans or appointments. I would also tally up my hours and calculate my pay for the week so we could budget what to save versus what was going to go for bills. Well, while my boyfriend's mom was getting her pop, she noticed my schedule. Here is basically how the conversation went. It's not going to be word for word considering how long ago it was, but fairly close. What is this? What is what? Her taking my schedule off the fridge and bringing it over. This! That's my schedule. How'd you get so many hours? Well, when you adjusted your schedule, they asked me if I wanted some of the extra days and hours, and I said yes. And you didn't think to talk to me about it first? No, because you told them you didn't want them. I didn't think it would be a big deal. You could have at least asked me if I was okay with it. Why? You didn't want them, and you know I need them. You know I'm saving money for the baby, so of course I'm going to take the extra money. She's getting loud at this point. I can't believe you would steal my hours without even talking to me about it first. I'm also getting a bit loud because, flip this stuff. They weren't your hours anymore. You gave them up. I'm pregnant with your grandchild, and they can't adjust their schedules to take the hours you didn't want anymore. You should have known they would ask me if I wanted some, if not all of them. It's not my fault you didn't think it through all the way. I would have never gotten you the job if I knew you were going to go behind my back like this. I can't believe you allowed her to do this to me. For one thing, I did not go behind your back. What did you think was going to happen when you handed your employers a list of days and times you would and wouldn't work? Did you think they were just going to leave their mother alone during those times? And 2, your son does not control me or what I do. He didn't even know that I had taken the hours until I got home and told him. And even if he had tried to stop me, I'd have told him to screw off because we need the money. Now, since you seem to think it's okay to stand in my house and yell at me, you can get the flip out and not come back until you have apologized to me. This is my son's house too. You can't kick me out. Actually, it's my mother's house. Our names are not on it, but I do have the right and ability to kick you or anyone else out, so get the flip out now." She left, still talking crap that I can't really remember now, plus I had gone to my room to calm down. The whole time she was going off on me, my boyfriend just sat there, not saying anything. Not defending me, not trying to calm her down, nothing. She and her husband came over about a week later, but that is a story for a different time. That also ended up in a screaming match, but between me and her husband that time. My boyfriend and I split up 6 years ago. Sometimes the only way you can protect yourself from toxic people is to stay away from them as much as you can. This is John from /Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to be the first to know when the next one drops, then subscribe and click on that notifications bell. We would love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.